Yo, Lord Willin, Jeff Canarsie, Mob Talk Radio. Check it out. Yo, we stay quiet like Russell Buffalino when things will get ugly like Pepsi's death in Casino. Who do we know? No one, nobody. But we're all well respected like Della Croce and Gotti. I know wild nights, Havana nocturne. Light up a cigar and watch your spot burn. You'll get patty whacked, I'm tough like Irish dock workers. Run with guys, hooligans and block lurkers. Corner berserkers, street savvy soldiers. You owe, you better pay. Don't make me say I told you. Code you don't betray, I say what I mean. Providence and Brooklyn all the way to the bean. I'd rather be unseen, like Vinny the Chin. I don't gotta go to Vegas to see cities of sin. Pull the pin, drop bombs like Danny Green. I'm right homicide like the murder machine. Lansky Luciano, mastermind the racket. Up in the clam house with $1 million in my jacket. Move around when the streets get darker. Pay homage to real bosses like Gambino and Patriarcha. Mob talking, but you don't talk to the mob. Lord Will and Jeff Canarsie, we stay on our job. This is Mob Talk, straight from the streets. Mob Talk, the life over beats. Lord Will and Jeff Canarsie, bringing you the real. Kill all rats, you already know the deal. This is Mob Talk, straight from the streets. Mob Talk, the life over beats. Lord Will and Jeff Canarsie, bringing you the real. Kill all rats, you already know the deal.
You're a good debater and you're not afraid of a fight. So why have your comments off? Just out of curiosity.
Well, I've turned them on for a lot of things.
On your shorts you do.
Right. In some of my lives, I think they're on. But almost as soon as I turn them on, there's photos of my family's homes.
Okay.
What's the address?
Yeah.
And at what point, and I just want to clarify.
Yeah, please.
I don't have to take that abuse.
Agreed.
Like, I don't come to work and slap the dick out of their mouth.
Kind of why do you have a disdain for informants in your opinion?
I don't disdain them. I downright fucking hate them.
Okay.
That's okay. But see, this is why I can say it. That guy Jeff's crazy. He's on medication. I have a disdain for them because no man should ever go to prison on the words of another man, number one. Number two, in 90% of the cases you look at, the informant has done more vile and disturbing crap than those that are being accused. Number three, I find it oxymoronic when a man, Joey Merlino, because everybody knows who he is, goes in front of a judge, they can bring up everything he's ever been accused of, including murders and whatever else. Even though he's acquitted, it doesn't really matter.
I'm going to tell you something. If you two never bother me again the rest of my life, I ain't giving them pension. I can't. There's good friends of mine out of the say. Well, he's divorced, you have to do his stuff. That's why I said to you before, you don't understand what the money is. I also know that the boss is your boss.
Hey, welcome to Mob Talk Radio. I just wanted to come in for a couple of minutes and give an update on what we have going on in Greece. I originally reported, no other content creator is reporting any of this, of course, as usual. But I wanted to wait a couple of days to see what else came out before I really sort of made any comments about it. But there's a lot coming out now. I did make some phone calls, talk to some people that I do know. And there is a whole lot going on because it's not stopping over there. So I think the best way to do this is I'm going to show you a photo really quick. And there we go. All right. The guy we're going to focus on is on the right-hand side right here. Like I said, last week we talked about probably one of the more grisly mob hits that I've ever seen. So back... I think it was in January last month, Greek mobster Vangelis Zambounis was executed in one of the more heinous mob hits I've ever seen. There is video of it. I got to be honest. I watched 2 seconds of it. Says no, can't do it. It's too gruesome. But the murder was actually caught on CCTV, and Zambounis was shot literally 96 times by an assailant using an AK-47. Zambounis was sitting in his BMW at the outside of a gas station in Athens, Greece. Zambounis, 44, was a major leader in underworld circles, dominated the cigarette smuggling trade, narcotics, and protection rackets, and dominated a lot of fuel monopolies. It's been alleged by Greek authorities that Zambounis himself was also likely responsible for ordering hits on other crime families, and that his rivals were coming to collect on old scores. In the CCTV video, this way you don't have to watch it. It was actually illegally released by several police officers in Greece, and they're all under suspension now for that. But what you see is a hooded masked attacker emptying a 30-round clip from an AK-47 assault rifle into the driver's side of the window of the SUV, reloading and firing a second clip to defeat the vehicle's armor. The killer then opened the BMW's shattered door and shot Zambounis several times in the head. Off camera, a second gunman was firing another AK-47 into the vehicle from the other side of the car. Police have said that there were 96 shell casings that were found at the scene of the crime. The assassin's car, which was a Lexus SUV, was reported stolen from Italy 6 months ago and was later found burning near the scene, where police also recovered 2 AK-47s and a pistol used in the killing. A third AK-47 and pistol were also recovered, but were unfired from Zambounis's vehicle by police. Zambounis is largely, or was, one of the largest, one of the bigger figures anyway, organized crime figures in Athens. And this is a guy who was in the higher ranks of the Greek mob. There was somebody who came out and spoke about it, and this was a high-ranking Albanian mafia guy, said that you pay him unless you want a problem. He's killed other bosses, so you just pay up or else. That's how it works. So it's likely that Zambounis's murder was retaliation for the hit last June on Vangelis Zambounis and his brother-in-law, who got hit in a double murder that appears exactly the same way as Zambounis got hit. Same weapons, same exact style. Police believe that Zambounis ordered the hit in retaliation for the murder of another boss. My Greek is horrible, so it's Yannis Skaftoros, who was hit outside of his vacation home in Skouta, Greece. In that murder, AK-47s were also used as well. Zambounis was actually almost killed in a brazen hit back in 2018, but the gunman's AK-47 jammed. It's widely been reported that there was a contract on Zambounis's life, and had been for a long time, with both Albanian mobsters and Greek mobsters looking for Zambounis. However, according to reports, there is a bit of different log line that goes with this, one that I don't necessarily believe. But it's been said that after the invasion of Ukraine, Russian and Ukrainian mobsters have flooded the black market, attempting to take control of gasoline and tobacco smuggling, especially in Balkan-controlled areas. And while that may be sort of a subplot we have to follow, I don't know if that's specifically the case. So we know that happened last month. Okay, there's something else that happened this week. I just need to pull this up really quick. All right. See if we can get, there we go. All right. So last Tuesday, Christos Gialias, who was a noted businessman, gets hit in his car near his home. An AK-47 was found near the scene, and 18 shell casings were found in the car and surrounding it. Gialias was a guy sort of like Paul Castellano, who courted the market on poultry, and not just sort of the market on sales, but all of the farmlands he controlled, the distribution, and the processing plants. So this was a guy who had a lot of money, and he also owned 2 football clubs, from what I was able to find out. He had advanced business opportunities into Albania, Italy, and Bulgaria. And G. Elias has long been suspected of being a narcotics trafficker, but has really no arrests or indictments related to drugs. But the streets always have a way of sort of putting out information. In a weird kind of thing, in 2018, his ex-wife was murdered outside of her home, which authorities at the time called it a robbery gone bad. And a 48-year-old relative of G. Elias was arrested for that crime. So they've long suspected that he hired somebody to do that. But it is what it is. So this is a bit tit for tat. And so the question becomes is what is the reason for these hits? And in reality, much like Canada, this is basically groups warring over turf and specifically the tobacco market. This is so similar to Montreal and what's been going on over in Montreal the last 2 or 3 years. Is what you have is 2 or 3 different rival groups vying for power and a monopoly on tobacco products, especially cigarette smuggling. That's a big thing in Europe. Outside of Greece, there is a subgroup based in the Ukraine that wants full control of that enterprise. And so what you're basically seeing is Ukrainian, Albanian, and other Balkan organized crime groups getting involved in a war against the Greeks. And this is sort of, a situation where you have groups that are based outside of Athens coming into Athens and trying to dictate the market by using murder and mayhem to do that. And the problem that you're having is, much like the Irish, the Greek factions don't totally get along. And so when you have one Greek boss killing another Greek boss, they're really doing a favor to these outside groups that are trying to take over. If they sort of came together and went after them as a whole, they might have sort of better odds in this sort of thing. But the reality is it goes back to bosses not being able to compromise and going after each other, and really just neutralizing themselves and giving more room to the Albanians and to the Ukrainians and the Russians that are starting to move into the area. Now, this is 2 hits in literally a month and a half. And according to Greek authorities, this is just the beginning. And scores are getting settled for past hits. And so, like I said, that's pretty much the information that I have as of today. And I think it's interesting because I think at the end of the day, this is just the beginning. It's not going to stop. Anytime you have more than 1, 2, 3, 4 groups vying for the same turf, the same territory, the same rackets, you're going to have this. Look at Montreal and Toronto as sort of an example of this. The mere fact that I think you have motorcycle gangs in Canada, you have Ndrangheta, you have Cosa Nostra, and then you have regular street gangs. They're all going after the same thing. And if I were to be hard pressed to say who's controlling Canada, well, it's Ndrangheta. It's not the bikers. The bikers are not controlling that. They may control the market on narcotics and certain other things like that, but they do not control Canada. And Ndrangheta is behind everything there. And anybody that says anything different just doesn't know what they're talking about. I'm just being honest with you. But as far as this Greek stuff goes, it does not surprise me Albanians are involved. It does not surprise me that Russians and Ukrainians are involved, because it's just one of those things. Instead of a conglomerate coming together and evening out the playing field, they're just killing each other. They're just killing each other. And I don't expect this to stop anytime soon. And with the case with the gentleman we showed second, Christos, he was a business guy. I mean, it's been alleged that he was involved in a lot of other things, but word there is that this was a retaliation for something else. So if, like I said, really look at Canada as the comparison, because everything we see there in the last probably 5 years, tit for tat. They're trying to take out whatever's left of the Rizzutos in Canada. They're struggling to do that. They thought that shooting Leonardo Rizzuto would push him out, and it's just emboldened him. And what have we seen since then? More guys are getting popped. And this is the same sort of situation that you're seeing in Greece. And this is, once again, like the European model for organized crime. I know that in this country, we look at organized crime, and really their heyday was in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. I would be hard pressed to say that it's probably not the 60s. They started to kind of change a little bit in the way they were doing things. But if you look at this for what it is, organized crime in Europe has never changed. It's always been the same. Every other day, the very interesting part about this, especially if you look at Italy, is they can arrest 100, 200 Ndrangheta guys, and it's not a big deal. If you were to arrest 200 guys in New York, that's a whole entire crime family. So we'll see what happens, but I largely expect this to continue going on. And like I said, I just wanted to share a bit of Greek mob stuff because I think that the genre sort of gets oversaturated with New York and Philadelphia and everything. So it's good to talk about another faction. It's good to look at Canada and sort of talk about these other things. So if you could do me a favor, just please like, subscribe, and share. We're trying to do things that are a little bit different. And for anybody that's going to come here now and say, well, you don't cover active stuff, what are you doing? I don't cover active stuff in this country. I will cover active stuff in another country. But then again, my acumen into other criminal groups overseas is not nearly as deep as it is here in this country. So there you have it. Hope you'd enjoy it. Do me a solid, like, share, and subscribe.